From Amerivet Securities, a service-disabled, veteran-owned broker-dealer in New York City, we bring you Compass Check, a podcast created by veterans for veterans. The military uses a compass to navigate air, land, and sea. Now, Compass Check is here to help you navigate your transition into the corporate workforce. Our goal is to reach military veterans and members of the veteran community, empower and connect them with a multitude of resources that will ultimately set them up for success after leaving the military. I'm your host, Army veteran James Fitzgerald. Let's get moving. The mission of Team Red, White, and Blue, commonly called Team RWB, is to enrich the lives of America's veterans by connecting them to their community through physical and social activity. Team RWB supports veterans as they prioritize their well-being by offering real-life and virtual opportunities to build a healthier lifestyle with a strong focus on mental and physical health. In 2021, Team RWB launched Eagle Expeditions, which allows members to participate in nature expeditions, including backcountry hiking in the Adirondacks, remote Alaska fishing, and running in the Grand Canyon. With over 190 chapters across the nation, Team RWB brings members and communities together to bridge the divide and bring connectivity within the veteran community. My guest today is Team RWB Executive Director, Mike Erwin. Here's our conversation. We are about to find out who's rocking the party that's rocking the body, because today I have Big Mike, Easy E. He has various names on the street, but he is the Executive Director of Team Red, White, and Blue. Mike, it is such a pleasure to have you joining me today to talk about the amazing things that Team Red, White, and Blue has for transitioning veterans and their families as they move out of the military into the corporate workforce and have all that time and energy to put into their community. So welcome.
Hey, thanks, James. Looking forward to it. This is such an important conversation, and I just love digging in and spending time talking with veterans like you on this stuff.
With that being said, we're going to jump right in. I need the superhero origin story for Team Red, White, and Blue, also known as Team RWB. Tell me, how did it start? Did a star explode and then the heavens parted and you floated down? Please enlighten me.
Yeah. So a little bit more logical. After my third combat rotation to Iraq or Afghanistan in 2009, the Army sent me to grad school. And so I went to the University of Michigan. And when I was up there in Ann Arbor, two things. One, I felt disconnected because I just left Fort Bragg in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and 3rd Special Forces Group. There was so much camaraderie, so much passion and purpose for what we did. And then I was mostly on my own, right? I was in a program studying, and yes, I had class with some people. I did share an office with one person, but the lifestyle was just so different. At the same time, I left a unit that had a big focus on physical activity and fitness. And one of the ways that I, as an intelligence officer, was able to earn respect from Green Berets was by being physically fit. And so they challenged me as I left, as I PCS'd, to go to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and said, "Hey, Erwin, we know you're going to get soft up there. You're not going to you're not going to have to impress us Green Berets anymore. So you're going to stop working out so hard." And so both of those things actually were things that I was experiencing in 2009, and it began this process, some soul searching that I did in that year, and really started looking around and said, wow, I can't believe there's not an organization out there that is specifically comprised of veterans and those that support them, that challenge and inspire and empower them to stay physically active when they leave the military. Because, as we all know, right, when you're in the military, you're on the hook for physical fitness 5 days a week, and you have to pass PT tests and tape tests and all that thing. And then when you leave, that goes away. And what I was finding, James, was that a lot of veterans just shut it down. They said, you know what? Hey, that fitness chapter of my life, that was when I was 18 to 25, when I was in the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Army, whatever. And I realized how challenging that was. That boy, we really need to challenge veterans to continue turning to physical activity to help them through PTSD, through transition stress, through the reintegration challenges, and all the things that happen in life. Fitness is such a great asset for us to help us to navigate adversity. So that's the beginning of it, 2010, and I can't believe it's been 12 years since we were created and almost 250,000 members later and continuing to push forward.
The success that you've had thus far is because of the necessity of the organization, exactly to what you just expressed. We used to have that as a vital component of our day-to-day lives. Inside of the military, like, you were successful in whatever job that you had inside of the service, but regardless of that job, your day started with that physical component. That is what began to build the bonds of the team that you later on in that day came back and continued on in whatever work that you were assigned.
Totally.
Getting out, every single bit of that cannot be put on your work organization, but you can still have that very component that you bring up. And I think that is the beauty of an organization like Team Red, White, and Blue.
Yeah, thank you.
Really reaching in and looking at, hey, what did we do at the very basics? What bonded us? The physical part really bonded us. You sweat together, you got stronger together, you were able to see these weaknesses in these vulnerable moments when, like, I just can't draw my breath. But I need someone beside me motivating me to get to the end. So exactly to your point, what I'd like to do is continue on. There's the mission, there's the vision for what Team RWB has. I'm lucky enough here in New York City to be located close to many of the chapters. And it's a beautiful sight to me to be able to join these chapters with this unified vision and mission. I know you gave us a little bit of it during the history and the backstory, but like the overall forward mission, I'm sure has adapted to new changes, new obstacles like the COVID pandemic.
Totally.
So, I would love to hear how that mission and that vision for the organization has continued on, maybe evolved, expanded to reach more of these veterans that need this kind of community.
Totally. So I would sum it up by saying that our first decade was overwhelmingly focused on transition and reintegration into the civilian world, and that the physical activity was primarily how we did that. Over the past couple of years, and actually starting just before COVID, 4 months before COVID, we started actually to evolve our focus and put the physical activity to drive physical, mental, and emotional health. We started to push that to the front, right? That was the main message. Yes, we support, in transition and reintegration, but the way that we do that is by helping you, Viola veteran, by staying physically active, by tapping into the power of fitness, right? And so the messaging now has been much more about, hey, we are not just trying to help veterans in their transition window. And in fact, we never only supported them. We had lots of veterans that served all the way back to Vietnam, but certainly in the 80s and 90s that were a part of Team Red, White, and Blue in our early years. So we were more accurately relaying to the world, and especially to the veteran community, that regardless of your age, regardless of where you come from, your fitness level, whatever limitations you might have, there's a place for you in Team Red, White, and Blue, and we want to help you be physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. And the way we do that really twofold, right? Just doing physical activity, but then also building a community that supports you to do that, right? So our vision has evolved into, we are forging the leading health and wellness community for veterans and their supporters, right? And so like we are really putting more of like the health and wellness community aspect of what we do. We're leading with that. And that's how we're driving veteran enrichment, improving their lives, helping them to reintegrate, helping them to transition to the civilian world, right? But it's through this health and wellness community.
I'm going to continue on to talk about our the Team RWB. I don't want to claim them for my own, but the Team Red, White, and Blue chapters that are across the country, because exactly to what you just said about creating that community for enrichment, the mental health support and promotion that goes on inside of this community is so vital. I do want to talk about like some of the different flavors that you can get inside of that community, but I'm so glad that you also mentioned how you were pushing forth the outcome and using the physical fitness in order to get there. For an individual like me, I was slightly hesitant to join my local Team RWB chapter because of my injuries in service. I genuinely thought, I was like, they don't need me slowing them down. And it was after a lot of hassling by local chapter members saying, no, we want you to come. We'll wait with
Yeah,
you. If you want to walk, we'll walk with you. If you need to take a break, we're there with you. I had to realize this is a community no different than when I was in the military and I needed help. They're
totally.
right there with me, and it's for me to accept that help. So going on the community that's built within these individual chapters, I would love to hear more. Just even a little bit more information about like some of the locations that
Yeah,
people may not think that you are operating in. But yeah,
yeah,
you're right there in our backyard. Please tell us about these
totally.
chapters.
Yes, we've got over 150 active chapters. And so, they're going to be in most of your, within striking distance of your bigger MSAs or your cities for sure. But like you spoke to a really important point. So there's a lot of veterans often who, when I've spoken to them, they say, I don't think Team RDB is for me because like I'm not fit anymore. Exactly. That's why we are here for you, right? Like, or hey, I've got a limitation. I can't. Dude. My knees, my back, whatever it is, I can't run anymore. I can't ruck. This is why we really push so many modalities of physical activity, right? And it can be walking, it can be yoga, it can be CrossFit, it can be rock climbing. There's so many different ways that we can elevate our heart rate and push ourselves, to be fit and to be active. And oh, by the way, like we don't care how fit you are. Like honestly, the reality is the more out of shape you are, the more inspiring you are to your fellow veterans and your fellow members, because they're going to be fired up to see you there putting in the work and say, hey, with complete vulnerability, I let the fitness thing go for the past 3, 5, 8 years. We don't care, right? Like however long it's been that you have not been physically active, like that means it's just more ammunition for you to inspire people on your journey to get back towards a better version of yourself, right? And so I tell people that all the time, like regardless of where you're at in your journey, there's a place for you in Team Red, White, and Blue. Now, look, like are there going to be all events? Some people do want to go for a run; they don't want to go for a walk. That's fine, but you will always find people within your chapter who want to do the thing that you do, right? And you'll always find a workout buddy, at least 1, 2, maybe 3 people, and you can form a little fire team, right? Of people who go do yoga together or who go run, or walk around the reservoir together, like whatever it might be. And so that's what's great about it is whatever it is that you want to pursue, you're going to find people who want to do it with you.
And this may be low hanging fruit, but some Team RWB friends that I have out in Colorado, they do a lot of rock climbing. And it was
Mm-hmm.
inspiring for me. I'd never heard anyone talk about rock climbing in a community sense. It was so beautiful that the way that they explained going to rock climbing initially for the physical exertion, but finding that community within during the breaks. It's like when we would get water, just being able to chat, just helped me decompress a little bit more from whatever was ailing me outside of those 4 walls in which we were rock climbing. And I never
Totally.
looked at it in that way. So
Absolutely.
150 chapters across the country, like it's a wide reach. But before we go any further, the listeners and watchers right now are wondering, hey, how can we find you? We've heard of teamrwb.org. Do we just go on there? Is someone going to be running to our home to get us registered? Like, how does it work once we get on teamrwb.org?
Totally. So actually, the easiest place to be able to join now is the App Store. So if you go to the App Store and you type in Team RWB, you'll see our app, thousands of reviews from lots of our members. And so you can get some unsolicited feedback on what people think about Team Red, White, and Blue.
Nice.
And you can go there and download the app. It takes about 3 minutes to create your profile. We ask, hey, are you a veteran, or a civilian? What branch were you in? What was your rank? Some basic questions like that to help, share who you are. And then you've got a profile. And now you're a part of a social network that about 35 to 40 people per day are joining. That's kind of our just steady growth rate. Every day we get like the numbers. Yep, 32 people joined today, 41 people joined, 27. That's the cadence of growth who are like you joining the team, and then you can then see both virtual challenges and in-person events based upon your geographical location that you can engage with, and that's honestly the most efficient and most productive way to join the team and to see how you can start getting involved. We have got challenges going on. For example, coming up, by the time this airs, I don't think it'll air before, but we have the Valor Challenge, August 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's a 12-hour, a 24-hour, and a 48-hour challenge.
Wow.
And there's 3 different ways that you can plug into that. And so anyways, like you can see and learn about all these different challenges and different events we have and do so alongside the community.
I just want you to know that we're going to talk more about these challenges later on in the episode, but you've already set the standard extremely high. I hope my bosses are listening that I need an app. Like that will help my popularity across all spectrums if I have an app that I can just drop and say, hey, you can become part of the app. And like, that's how you join the community. It's like, I need that. So amazing. And I love how Team RWB is really adapting to the times and using an avenue of approach that many organizations maybe haven't caught wind of, but you're really meeting the veteran where they're at, meeting the participant where they're at, and giving them as many opportunities as possible to join this community. So, like, I applaud you in that respect.
Thank you. Yeah, we've invested a lot of time and energy, efforts, and funds into building out this app with support from some of our partners. Because as we all know, the world is so much virtual first, or it's so much mobile first, that you've got to eventually create an app. But if you're a large membership based organization like we are, we had to do it. But boy, it was a heavy lift, and it's a lot of effort, right? But we're there, and we have built something that we're pretty proud of over the past 4 years. And when you get in there, you can see what's going on. You can interact with people, not nearly as effectively as you can on some of the other social media platforms, but you can interact with people and you can see what's going on around you and the virtual challenges that you can participate in.
A lot of what you had mentioned earlier about joining a part of a community, most of these veteran services, veteran resources are being passed on by word of mouth. So being able to connect to this community to not only ask about the organization, maybe the local chapter, they can ask about the location they're going to be moving into, if they're changing duty stations, if they're leaving the service and going back to where they grew up. All those things are possible through this connectivity of the community, through the app. So this is overall what we're trying to do as a podcast element, is communicate this to transitioning veterans and their families, because the family component is going to be a part of this team as well. So moving into our second segment, I wanted to focus on some of the things that have been available to the alumni that have been a part of the organization for years and years and years. You take huge strides to make sure that they're continuously looped back into the programs and the events. You can become chapter captains. There are various leadership positions that you can have through your local community, but also through the organization. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about a few of those, just in case I know there are alumni listening, just letting them know a few of the opportunities that are also available to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got so many different opportunities you can engage. The lowest hanging fruit, like the easiest, is through the app, the virtual challenges. As you and I talked about, James, beforehand, once a year for about 40 days or so, we move a single American flag a very long distance. We call that the Old Glory Relay.
Yeah.
On the 20th anniversary of 9/11, we left the location where the Twin Towers were. We finished in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where our headquarters is. Just this past year, we left Washington, D.C., actually the World War II Memorial, and we finished at the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. We ran the flag into the opening ceremonies. We're waiting to see next year, probably going to be a West Coast, moving its way to the East.
Nice.
But bottom line is, like, you can participate in that. We've got some of these challenges going on, like the 1776 challenge that takes place June and July. WOD for Warriors around Veterans Day. It's a very challenging CrossFit style workout, but it's scalable, right? We've got different ways that you can tap into that. So bottom line is, like, there's a bunch of different programs that we offer, but beyond that, we also are moving more and more towards like this focus on health and wellness. So specifically, we're looking at dry January and challenging the entire community to participating in dry January, no alcohol for the 31 days in January. So things like that are also on our mind about how do we continue to not just provide fitness opportunities, but overall health and wellness opportunities to help veterans be their healthiest and best selves.
It's always awesome also to know that you have an extended family across the country throughout the various physical events that I've been able to take part in, specifically the Bataan Memorial Death March that I did in New Mexico. It was incredible, the number
Yeah.
of eagles, which is that is the nickname for the Team
Right.
RWB participants. Like, if you are watching, you can see Mike's logo on his shirt right now. It's like, it's eagle, eagle, eagle is
Right.
what you hear as you move around and you see that logo. You have a friend in that person
Right.
because they are just as active as you are in the community. And it's amazing. So those types of challenges not only connect you virtually, but you know that you have those people that are close by that you can reach out to say, hey, listen, this wild challenge is breaking my back. You got any helpful hints to ice to help me out? Because overall, we fully understand now that we've transitioned out of the military, you can have your 9 to 5, but that is not entirely you. The holistic you
Totally.
needs so much more, and that's where Team RWB comes in. Like, you can get the best job in the world, like everything else can fall into place, but if you don't have that vital community building component, like, you're going to fill that void. So it's great to know that across the country, 150 chapters, you have this kind of stuff going on. These
Totally.
challenges are awesome. The volunteer opportunities, I kind of touched on it earlier, mentioning my beginnings with Team RWB, saying it took me a while to get connected to my local chapter, because I thought, because of my injuries, my limitations, I wasn't the type of person that could even volunteer. But there are myriad of volunteer or opportunities out there. I just wanted you to, give an opening to those that are looking to give back to their community, to become part of something more, but think, oh, because of this or because of that, maybe Team RWB wouldn't want me. I'd like for you to
Yeah.
disprove that and shut all that down right now.
Totally. Yeah, there's lots of different opportunities that you can get involved. So first of all, the idea of volunteering is something we can always find, right? No matter where we're at or what part of. And so, like, we volunteer, for example, in DC, we clean the Korean War Memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial once or twice a year. We've got a lot of different places where our chapters have, including my chapter, where we have adopted a 2-mile stretch of the road to clean it up. And so twice a year, right, we go there and we pick up trash. There's manning water stations in the local 10K half marathon, right? Like, and cheering people on. Heck, you don't even need to go out there and man a station. Put on your Team Red, White, and Blue shirt and grab a cowbell and go out to a local run and just cheer people
Yeah.
on, and be a positive force and representative of the veteran community. Is a simple way that you can do good, right? So lots of our chapters, they volunteer locally, and do everything. Recently in New York City, they helped to build tables for veterans who are struggling.
Mhm.
There's people who partner with local food kitchens and pantry. I mean, so there's all kinds. So when you get involved locally, there's tons of opportunities to be able to do that. We are increasingly trying to focus on doing something that ties into the fitness aspect. So again, what I love about cleaning the road is, the side of the road is, you can have if you can't bend down very easy, you can have a stick to do it, but like, you're making a difference in your community. You can actually see it. The road is cleaner at the side of it, but you're also moving, right? You're moving a couple
Yeah.
of miles that day. And it's fitness without thinking about it is fitness, I know, by the way, if you're volunteering at an aid station, you're shuttling back and forth waters and Gatorades and all
Yep.
that. So, right. We just love to make any of the things that we do while volunteering, they are still work and they are still fitness related, but it's not the same thing as doing a hard CrossFit workout or something like that.
I want to talk about my last event with Team Red, White, and Blue, which was the 4th of July of 2022. We were at the 9/11 Museum and we were doing a flag placement ceremony on all the names at the 9/11 fountain memorials outside. And it was
Yeah.
such a powerful event because not only did you have all these Eagles out in their red shirts, but you had TD Bank was also out with us. They had some volunteers from their staff members join us, but it was the kids. It was kids of Red, White, and Blue members, kids of TD Bank staff members that were able to come out, take part as well. You had to get up early. You were moving around. So you had the physical component, but it was the opportunity for these adults to tell the importance of not only why we're doing this, but this whole area, why it's important. So like you're getting the opportunity firsthand, setting that example, but instilling in them why this is so important. So like I it was my honor and privilege to join you all for that event because it was just a powerful ceremony. You had so many people that just stopped and were in awe because they found out that these were military veterans with their families out here doing this instead of enjoying the day, grilling hot dogs, and doing anything else they could have been doing. They were out here serving again.
Totally.
So
Absolutely.
I'm about to like cry. So I'm going to shift to something a little bit more positive and a little bit more bright. This is our last segment. It's our double time segment.
Nice.
We use this for a lightning round style question and answer. You get 60 seconds, and we've been having such a splendid conversation about how Team Red, White, and Blue has been doing such awesome work across the country. My double time for you is I'm going to give you a different region in the country.
Yes.
I'd like 60 seconds inside of there. Give me a story. Give me an event. Give me an alumni highlight. Give me something that encapsulates some of the magic that's happening in that region. And because I'm selfish, I'd like to start with the Northeast. You got to give me something to get me pumped.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had John Bond was our former state coordinator there in Philadelphia, and he led his chapter to celebrate Black History Month on a ruck march throughout the city to various monuments and in various parks throughout the city that celebrated a different aspect of Black History Month. And there's like 20, 25 Eagles that came out and joined him on that ruck march, and ended up being like a whole morning thing. And that finished up, I believe, like at a restaurant for some food and drinks on a Saturday morning.
I'm such a history nerd, and specifically a military history nerd. I've been able to do walking tours of Philadelphia, so I can just imagine how amazing that type of event would have been. So, like, I appreciate
Awesome.
that. We're gonna keep moving. Let's take it to the West Coast. Hit me something on the west side of the country.
Yeah, the West Side obviously, is for us, we've got a lot of presence because there's a lot of veterans: California, Seattle, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, like, one of our most on fire chapters in the country is Phoenix, and I actually met up with them in early March when I was out there, and they had a huge showing at the Pat Tillman Memorial Run that happens every year in April. But honestly, the stuff that they do week to week is incredible. And they put on runs and especially hikes up into, I wouldn't call it the mountains, but up into the high grounds that overlooks Phoenix. And they get great engagement and great participation in some of those movements up to the mountains that they do. And they got some incredible leaders out there that are just putting on a steady diet of different events. And it's amazing.
I mean, no pun intended with the Arizona Phoenix chapter being on fire. Like, it has been scorching hot across the country.
Yes,
So
it
it's like,
has.
I hope they're a little bit less than scorching right now.
Yes.
So let's hit these southeast. Let's take it down south.
So, so I'm down south, right? So I'm in North Carolina is where I'm at, and so I, spend time there. But more recently, I would go down to Atlanta, and that's our headquarters is at there. And we've had some amazing events. We actually had with our partners over at Yingling, we had one of our veterans this year, a Marine Corps veteran, was selected to throw the first pitch out at one of the Atlanta Braves baseball games. And so there's a bunch of Eagles that were able to go to the game there to watch him and cheer him on. But that's an example of some of the opportunities that might emerge in your local chapter when whatever the local sports team is, pro or mid-level, or semi-pro, that is looking for someone to celebrate a veteran. And they sit there and they'll turn to Team Red, White, and Blue and say, hey, who do you got? And that's just an example of someone who for 2 years in a row now, we've had a chance to select a veteran to throw out the first pitch to an Atlanta Braves baseball game.
Okay, with that, I'm not even going to try to top that or present anything else. But I want to close on that because that is something that is a motivating factor. I want to throw out the first pitch at a Yankees game, but this isn't about me. Yeah. This is about those listening, transitioning veterans and their families that are about to move out of the military and into the corporate workforce, with that understanding that, hey, I want that good job inside of the corporate workforce, but I'm more than my 9 to 5. And outside of that, there is a community waiting for me inside of Team Red, White, and Blue. All I have to do is either download the app, which is still a mic drop, or you can go to teamrwb.org and you'll be able to find more information about local chapters and events in your area. For now, Mike, my goodness, I feel like I need to get warmed up for at least a 5-mile run after this conversation with you. You have motivated me, my friend, and you're definitely going to have to come back and enrich us with all of the progress and the success that Team Red, White, and Blue has been up to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, James. This has been great. Love the questions. Love the opportunity to share my passion for Team Red, White, and Blue, for health and wellness and fitness, and why I think it's, as we started out at the beginning, why this is so needed and why so many veterans know that they need a Team Red, White, and Blue in their life. So we look forward to seeing, hopefully, anyone who has served or supports those who serve, who's watched or listened to us, to go out there and to join the team.
And to my listening and viewing audience, make sure to keep your eyes peeled. You may see Old Glory running through your neighborhood one of these days coming forth, or it could be you. But for now, I'm going to say, see you next time. I've been your host, James Fitzgerald. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Compass Check. This is the final episode of Season 1. Join me next week as we discuss Uber's military, veteran, and partner program as we start Season 2 of Compass Check. See you there.